Narcissistic abuse, a subtle and insidious manipulation, weaves a web of emotional turmoil, making escape challenging. In this video, delve into the 10 reasons victims struggle to break free from the clutches of their tormentors. Explore the complexities that shroud the path to freedom, and discover why leaving is more than just a decision. It's a formidable journey of resilience. 1. Emotional dependency. One of the primary reasons victims struggle to leave narcissistic relationships is the emotional dependency cultivated by the manipulative tactics of the narcissist. Over time, the abuser skillfully dismantles the victim's self-esteem, leaving them emotionally reliant on the narcissist for validation and self-worth. Breaking free becomes a daunting task as the victim fears losing the only source of validation they've come to depend on, making the thought of independence seem overwhelmingly frightening. Suppose you once had a vibrant social life, but over time, your narcissistic partner systematically dismantled your self-esteem. You find yourself relying solely on their approval and validation for a sense of self-worth. Reconnect with friends and family. Share your feelings with trusted loved ones and seek professional support if needed. Rebuilding a support network can help you regain your independence and emotional strength. 2. Gaslighting and cognitive dissonance. Gaslighting, a common tool in the narcissist's arsenal, creates cognitive dissonance within the victim. Constantly questioning their reality, victims may doubt their perceptions and memories. This confusion makes it challenging for them to trust their instincts and recognize the toxic nature of the relationship. The manipulation is so subtle that victims often find themselves questioning their own sanity, making leaving seem like an impossible feat. Picture this: your partner consistently denies events that you vividly remember, leaving you questioning your own sanity and perception of reality. Keep a journal documenting instances of gaslighting. Having a written record can validate your experiences and serve as a reminder when self-doubt creeps in. Seek therapy to untangle the cognitive dissonance and regain confidence in your own perceptions. 3. Isolation and alienation. Narcissists excel at isolating their victims from support systems, ensuring they become the sole influence in their lives. By alienating friends and family, the narcissist further entrenches the victim in a web of isolation, making them feel utterly alone. Leaving the relationship then becomes a seemingly insurmountable task, as the victim lacks the emotional and practical support needed to break free from the narcissist's control. Imagine being estranged from friends and family because your narcissistic partner systematically undermined these relationships, leaving you feeling utterly alone. Gradually reconnect with loved ones, explaining the situation if necessary. Rebuilding these connections can provide emotional support and create a safety net for when you decide to leave the toxic relationship. 4. Fear of retaliation. Narcissists are notorious for their vengeful nature, and victims often live in constant fear of retaliation. The threat of exposure, manipulation, or even physical harm keeps victims bound to their abuser, as the fear of what might happen if they attempt to leave outweighs the desire for freedom. This fear is a powerful deterrent, reinforcing the sense of helplessness that prevents victims from taking decisive action. Envision the constant threat of retaliation hanging over you, with the narcissistic partner using fear to keep you compliant and trapped. Develop a safety plan. Share your situation with a trusted friend, secure important documents, and have a safe place to go if needed. Reach out to local domestic abuse resources for guidance and support. 5. Trauma bonding. The intense emotional highs and lows inherent in narcissistic relationships create a powerful psychological bond known as trauma bonding. Despite the toxicity, victims become addicted to the intermittent reinforcement of love and approval from the narcissist. This addictive cycle makes leaving akin to withdrawal, with the fear of losing the fleeting moments of affection outweighing the rational understanding that the relationship is harmful. Picture a relationship filled with emotional highs and lows, where the intermittent moments of love and approval from your partner create a powerful but toxic bond. Recognize the pattern and seek professional help to break the trauma bond. Therapy can provide tools to cope with the withdrawal symptoms and help you move towards a healthier, more stable life. Surprisingly, 80% of our audience hasn't subscribed. Please click the subscribe button and give this video a like to support us in the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. Now let's continue, shall we? 6. Financial dependence. Narcissists often manipulate their victims into financial dependence, making it difficult for them to envision a life outside the abusive relationship. Whether through control of assets, restricting access to finances, or sabotaging career opportunities, the narcissist ensures the victim remains financially tethered. This economic entrapment adds another layer of complexity to leaving, as victims face the daunting prospect of rebuilding their lives from scratch. Imagine being financially controlled by your partner, with limited access to resources, making it nearly impossible to envision a life beyond the abusive relationship. Develop financial independence by creating a separate account, seeking employment opportunities, or consulting with a financial advisor. Establishing economic autonomy is a crucial step towards regaining control. 7. Love and hope. Despite the abuse, victims often hold on to the love they initially felt for the narcissist and the hope that the relationship will improve. The memories of happier times and the belief that the narcissist can change create a cognitive dissonance that hinders the decision to leave. Victims may cling to the belief that they can fix the relationship, leading them to endure the abuse in the misguided pursuit of restoring the love they once knew. Suppose you hold on to the memories of happier times and cling to the hope that your partner will change despite enduring ongoing abuse. Acknowledge that change is unlikely and prioritize your well-being. Seek therapy to explore and strengthen your own sense of self-love and self-worth, enabling you to make decisions based on a realistic assessment of the relationship. 8. Fear of abandonment. Ironically, victims of narcissistic abuse may fear abandonment themselves. The narcissist's manipulative tactics often involve threats of abandonment, making victims desperate to avoid being discarded. This fear plays into the narcissist's hands, creating a vicious cycle where the victim becomes increasingly compliant to avoid the perceived threat of being left alone and emotionally devastated. Picture feeling desperate to avoid being abandoned by your narcissistic partner, even at the cost of enduring continued emotional and psychological harm. Recognize that the threat of abandonment is a manipulative tactic. Focus on building a support system, reinforcing your self-worth, and understanding that leaving is an act of self-preservation, not abandonment. 9. Sense of guilt and shame. Narcissists excel at projecting blame onto their victims, instilling a profound sense of guilt and shame. Victims internalize the belief that they are responsible for the dysfunction in the relationship, making leaving feel like an admission of failure. The shame associated with leaving further compounds the emotional burden, creating a barrier that keeps victims trapped in the cycle of abuse. Imagine internalizing the constant blame and criticism, leading to a profound sense of guilt and shame that prevents you from considering leaving. Challenge the internalized guilt by seeking therapy. A therapist can help you understand the dynamics of emotional abuse, reframe your perspective, and develop a healthier sense of self-compassion. 10. Diminished self-esteem. Over time, narcissistic abuse erodes the victim's self-esteem to the point where they may no longer believe they deserve better. The constant criticism, belittlement, and devaluation leave victims with a distorted self-image, making the prospect of starting anew seem overwhelming. The diminished self-esteem becomes a formidable obstacle, convincing victims that they are unworthy of a life free from abuse and reinforcing the cycle of staying in a toxic relationship. Picture a version of yourself that no longer believes you deserve a life free from abuse. Your self-esteem shattered by constant criticism and devaluation. Prioritize self-care and self-love. Engage in activities that bring you joy and surround yourself with positive influences. Seek therapy to rebuild your self-esteem and rediscover your worth beyond the confines of the toxic relationship. Breaking free from the unseen chains demands courage, self-reflection, and a commitment to one's well-being. As we conclude this exploration into the reasons victims struggle to leave, it's crucial to remember that recovery is possible. The journey to healing begins with acknowledging the pain, understanding the dynamics at play, and embracing the strength within. You are not alone, and there is a community ready to support you. The path to liberation may be challenging, but it is a journey toward reclaiming your autonomy, rebuilding shattered self-esteem, and rediscovering the vibrant person hidden beneath the scars. By recognizing the signs, seeking help, and taking decisive steps toward a life free from manipulation, victims can transform into survivors. Breaking the chains of narcissistic abuse is a powerful act of self-love, and as you embark on this journey, may you find the strength to write a new chapter, a chapter defined by resilience, healing, and the boundless possibilities that await beyond the confines of toxic relationships. Remember, your story is not defined by the abuse you endured, but by the strength you summoned to overcome it. The first step towards freedom is acknowledging your worth and believing in the promise of a brighter tomorrow.